Tony, thank you very much. It is such a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to address such an esteemed group of Nigerian business leaders, entrepreneurs, and students. I want to thank you for welcoming us and our dynamic and diverse group of 20 American companies that are joining us on this energy trade mission. So let me start by saying, why are we here? President Obama and this administration see tremendous opportunity in Africa. President Obama has called it the world's next great economic success story. Africa is home to 7 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. Real income has increased more than 30% over the last 10 years, reversing 2 decades of decline. According to the World Bank, almost half of Africa's countries have attained middle-class income status. GDP is expected to rise 6% per annum over the next decade, and by 2040, Africa will have a larger workforce than India or China. President Obama is committed to deepening the relationship between America and all the nations of Africa and developing a new level of mutual understanding and respect based on a shared commitment to freedom, democracy, social progress, and economic growth. In Nigeria in particular, the opportunities are abundant. You are home to the largest economy in Africa, and 1 in 5 people on the continent are Nigerian. Not only do our governments stand together as partners and friends, but our companies, as evidenced by the trade mission, are eager to forge stronger partnerships in Nigeria. But before I go on, I want to offer my condolences to the families in Jos following the tragic attack there yesterday. And I want to address the issue that is on all of our minds. To the north of here, in the town of Chibok, hundreds of families are without their daughters today. As a mother of 2 myself, my heart breaks for these girls and their loved ones and their friends. All parents, no matter where they are born or where they reside, hope that their children are always safe and that their children have the opportunity to realize their dreams. That these young girls were kidnapped while pursuing their education is particularly unsettling, and the world is anxiously awaiting their safe return. The United States is supporting Nigeria in its works to find and free these young girls. A team is now in place at our embassy to provide military aid, assist in information gathering, and much more. Last weekend, the United States attended a meeting in Paris where President Goodluck Jonathan and the heads of state of the countries bordering Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and Benin, pledged to work together to combat Boko Haram. With them, the United States, France, the EU, and the UK agreed to prevent violent extremist groups from making inroads into vulnerable communities. A comprehensive approach to promoting opportunity, inclusion, and security must be implemented in the region. We will help Nigerians to do that. Our commitment is long-term. We will stand by Nigerians as they strive to defend and protect their sons and daughters, husbands, brothers, sisters, and mothers. For all of the promise here in Africa, situations like this raise serious concerns. The threat of violence, corruption in government and business, and the lack of trust undermine Nigeria's continued progress. Despite these challenges, the United States has been and continues to be a committed partner in your progress. Back in 2012, President Obama outlined his vision for how the United States and Africa would work together towards a mutually beneficial future. The United States strategy towards sub-Saharan Africa laid out a comprehensive policy that would achieve 4 specific aims: strengthening democratic institutions, advancing peace and security, promoting opportunity and development, and spurring economic growth, trade, and investment. These goals are inextricably linked. The United States has a number of initiatives in place to help Africa make progress in each of these areas. At the Department of Commerce, our goal is to advance the trade and investment pillar of the President's strategy. And this trade mission is a sign of commitment by our government to support a new U.S. business focus in Africa. Today, nearly 600 million Africans, 2/3 of the people on the continent, lack electricity, including millions here in Nigeria. This problem is particularly stark in rural areas where 85% of the population does not have power. Studies have shown that Africa will need $300 billion in investments to achieve universal electricity by 2030. Already, the United States government has committed $7 billion towards Power Africa and has secured additional commitments totaling $14 billion from 35 private sector partners. Simply put, Power Africa is designed to catalyze new financing and investment in energy solutions that will help Nigeria and the 5 other countries that comprise Power Africa to provide reliable electricity to its citizens. Already, Power Africa has closed on transactions totaling nearly 3,000 megawatts, with an additional 5,000 megawatts in the planning stages. So here in Nigeria, the Power Africa initiative is providing technical assistance as our government privatizes, as your government privatizes its electricity industry, an effort that could add 2,000 megawatts over the next 5 years. We're also working together to attract additional private investment and to secure financing for renewable energy projects. In addition, our commercial law experts are creating a library of documents to help streamline the process for negotiating and closing agreements and transactions under Power Africa. Next month in Abuja, we will hold a workshop to increase the use of these documents among utilities and regulators. Power Africa is just one example of our long-standing commitment to ensuring Africa's continued growth and prosperity. Let me give you 3 other ways. First, we are pushing for the seamless renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, of which Nigeria is the top beneficiary. As many of you know, AGOA allows 6,400 products from eligible sub-Saharan African countries to enter the United States duty-free. For 2013, U.S. imports under AGOA totaled $26.8 billion. Going forward, our hope is that Nigeria will take advantage of AGOA to diversify its economy, fulfilling the vision of this legislation. In fact, AGOA is a key topic that I will discuss in Ethiopia later this week with members of the African Union. Secondly, the Commerce Department itself is dedicating more human resources to Africa. Nigeria is already home to one of our largest commercial service teams on the continent. These dynamic individuals work every day to help American companies find new partners and customers here. And I am pleased to say that we just announced that we are increasing our footprint across Africa. We intend to expand our commercial service in Ghana, Kenya, Morocco, and Libya. And for the first time ever, we will open offices in Angola, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Mozambique. A third measure that will benefit Africa is an opportunity to grow entrepreneurship on the continent. The President's Ambassadors for Global Entrepreneurship here in Nigeria, where youth unemployment is roughly 40%, we want to support innovators as they launch startups and create jobs. This is crucial for long-term stability and economic growth. The President's Ambassadors for Global Entrepreneurship, or PAGE, is a group I chair of 11 well-known, very successful U.S. entrepreneurs who have committed their time, networks, advice, and ideas to advancing entrepreneurship all over the world. Africa will be an ongoing focus of this high-profile group. In sum, the U.S. government brings a lot to the table when it comes to our commitment to Africa, but we have not come alone. U.S. businesses have decades-long relationships and experience in Africa. Many of the companies on this mission are already doing business in Nigeria, and they're looking to do more. The United States is the largest source of foreign direct investment in Nigeria, with a total stock valued at $8.2 billion in 2012. But President Obama believes we should do more. So I am pleased to announce that on the first day of the African Leaders Summit in August, the largest of its kind that any United States president has initiated with African heads of state. President Obama has asked me to assemble CEOs from both Africa and the United States to discuss ways to deepen commercial relationships and strengthen the presence of U.S. companies in African markets. This U.S.-African Business Forum will increase partnerships in industries such as financing, infrastructure, energy, agriculture, information and communications technology, and much more. While America's ties to the African continent are stronger than ever, this forum will help spur even more trade and investment between Africa and the United States. We are excited about this CEO forum, but it does not change the fact that there is much work to do. The bottom line is we all want American businesses to invest in Africa. We want them to stay in Africa, and we want them to create jobs and prosperity both here and in the United States. But for U.S. businesses to come here, stay here, and help you achieve your full potential, Nigeria needs to take some tough steps that allow businesses to truly thrive. Our companies want to do business in countries that follow rule of law, maintain ethical standards, abide by workplace safety, encourage workforce training, and protect intellectual property. These are conditions that will increase trust and confidence among international and local business leaders and encourage further investment. Nigeria has made impressive and important progress in recent years. It has joined the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative and adopted new anti-corruption laws. We welcome these steps. At the same time, laws only operate on behalf of business and people when they are enforced predictably and reliably. Businesses seeking to invest in agriculture, healthcare, transportation, tourism, information and communications technology, and manufacturing must have the conditions to operate free from unnecessary regulation, government interference, and corruption. Nigeria needs the active participation of business and civil society to successfully root out corruption. We hope that Nigeria will adopt the international best practice of providing whistleblower protections. Honest citizens who are willing to alert authorities to corruption as it is taking place are your best resource in this fight. The steps that government takes to counter corruption must be reinforced by predictable regulations that help companies not only enter the market but support their ability to do good business. Such conditions that promote ease of doing business will open Nigeria to more investment and innovation. We also encourage Nigeria to implement its public procurement laws according to international best practices and to join the World Trade Organization's government procurement agreement. I am confident that the Nigerian government, businesses, and civil society leaders can develop homegrown solutions to these challenges and act as agents of change. Together, the U.S. government, the Nigerian government, the business leaders in this room, and the American companies that are committed to Nigeria can lay the foundation for prosperity, jobs, and sustained economic growth. Fundamentally, I believe that together we can, must, and will move forward on all fronts, from strengthening global security to ensuring that democracy can flourish, to spurring more trade, investment, and economic opportunity to benefit all of our citizens. Why am I so confident? So let me share with you a poignant story. Every day I have the privilege to work with a diverse array of talented people at the United States Department of Commerce. This group includes one of my colleagues, Julie Wenna, who is sitting here, whose parents immigrated from Rivers State to Houston, Texas in the 1980s. Julie is a lawyer who works in our Office of General Counsel and also has helped us organize this trade mission as well as others. Julie, can you raise your hand? We're so happy to have you here. So Julie comes back to Nigeria not just on this trade mission, but she comes back every few years to see her relatives, including her brother, who works for the governor of Rivers State. So to me, Julie and her brother are an example of how the coming generations of Americans and Nigerians will continue to weave together even stronger ties between our countries. Now, Julie said this about helping to organize our trade mission, and I quote, "My heart is full to be here serving the United States in my father's homeland. My father, who has passed, had high ambitions for his children. But I myself never conceived that I would be here in Nigeria doing such important work. It is such an honor," she says, "to be part of the effort to build a bridge between our businesses and our people." So let's fulfill Julie's vision and our vision of building that bridge in the months and years ahead. It will require all of us to work together, our entrepreneurs and business leaders, our government officials, and our citizens themselves. But if there is anything that I have learned on this trip so far, it is this: we can accomplish great things if we work together towards a common good. So thank you very much for welcoming me here today.